Good morning. We'd like to welcome you to the BlackUSA.News morning show. My name's Donnie Glover, and we're here with Baltimore's own favorite son, Dr. Michael Zollicoffer. How are you, sir?
Feeling good, man.
Now, look, we were talking about it, and this is important. Rest. Tell me about rest. Do I have to sleep 8 hours? And I was trying to tell you beforehand, but as a kid, I was a late night.
Right.
You remember Groucho Marx, the late show?
I love it.
I would say, Daddy, can you wake me up at 11? You remember
Right.
Ghost? Ghost Host on Channel 45. This is your
Oh, my goodness. You going back old school.
So I got used to them all-nighters, but as I've gotten older,
right,
I can now cut the TV off. I could never do that before.
Right.
Cut the TV off and go right on out. But I got a call today, and the lady said, "You not up?" And I was like, "What time is it?" She's like, 7 o'clock. Like, no, because the first show is 10 o'clock, and my focus is on 10 o'clock.
Right.
And then after this, the focus is on the 7 o'clock show.
That's right. You rolled it.
And so I just try to pace myself. But any suggestions on rest in the middle of COVID?
Man, be honest with you. And you and I sort of talked a little bit even before the show started. I'm just a man that is real. Rest is important. We all know that. You can't go 24 hours and never sleep. But I think there is a situation where we balance what our lifestyles are with what we need. And when people call telling you with the 8 glasses of water, that was always nonsense. You get water from eating food. So it's about staying hydrated, but it had to be 8 glasses. I don't think a donkey and an elephant runs around and see that I get 8 glasses today. You see, so I'm trying to put things in a realistic thought process. So I don't think I need 8 straight hours of sleep a day. Now, some doctors must go, "Oh, that's terrible." No, it's not terrible. We got to start talking realistic so the world can function with a lot of this misinformation in your head. So no, I think if you balance, just like you stated, and I got a show at 7, I got one at 3. Now I'm going to take me a nap in between those. And if that gives you a sustainability and you feel good, healthy, that's your best. To try to then go put in what the people tell you may be a stress. Oh, I got to find 8 hours in this hectic day. Oh, I work all night. And then you say me not to sleep during the day. No, this is a world that gets into a world of chaos. And we got to be realistic.
So tell me about those people who do work the graveyard shift.
Right.
How's that work?
Well, people work the graveyard shift. You just shift your diurnal clock. Your body changes. And so day becomes your night becomes your day. Or if you're doing the other way, like we always do, it's reverse. But the point being is, it is sustainable. If you are mentally fine and able to cope with your situation and environment, you will be fine overall, health-wise, across the board. Many times following life's edicts is a stress in itself. It's I always tell you, culture's not real. People got to understand culture was created. And sometimes we're our own worst enemies by following the steadfast dogmas, constructs, and paradigms of the cultural milieu. Sometimes you got to break the game. That's all I do every day. I don't follow doctors. Like I got a whole lecture called MD, Mighty Dumb. Because we can say some crazy stuff just because we've been taught it. Sometimes you got to start living out the box and looking out other ways to be able to create a decent homeostasis within your existence.
And that homeostasis is balance?
Balance. Mental, physical, across the board. And it doesn't come with a script.
We've been joined by Diamond K. He does a couple. Diamond K, introduce yourself. You got such a long resume.
So I'm a media personality, quite like yourself. And I do a show called Diamond K in the Morning, weekdays at 8 a.m. But like you alluded to, I also have a musical background. But I'm enjoying the conversation that you're having right now, and looking forward to jumping in.
And Diamond, you broadcast for starters in Baltimore and Atlanta?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
let me ask
absolutely.
Any questions for Dr. Z, medical doctor? He's our resident physician.
Yeah, I mean, my question would be, as far as the news of the pausing of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, with over 6.8 million people, close to 7 million people having taken the vaccine. What would be your recommendation to people that have taken the vaccine, Johnson & Johnson specifically?
I'm gonna say one thing. I just did a little talk on this last evening with my fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma. I was on there giving us some COVID-19 background. Too much information. Huh?
That's right,
that's right. I will tell you too much information. And I mean it by this. When you're in the middle of a pandemic and you started talking about the intricacies of every shot, and we're trying to sort of safeguard and at the same time give information to the general public, you're giving information sometimes the public can't digest or should not even know. When you're looking at 7 million shots and 6 people with a clotting problem, that's 1 in 1 million. Go back and put how many people who get COVID have a problem, which is almost 600,000 deaths. It's inconsequential. It's not even a number worth even talking about. So if you've had the shot, be happy. The things we're talking about so rare, not even worth you considering. So you don't even have to even worry about that data piece. Reason we got it out there is just because we've been giving information for all of these shots. And a little bit sometimes, like I said, too much information. All right. So what we need to do is continue to keep our arms up. If you're going to get the J&J shot today, roll your sleeve up. Nobody's died from the shot per se. Maybe these complications may have come through some clotting. The biggest thing we need to look at is that this is really taken off the market because we're going to go back and probably put an insert in to tell us how we function from now on. So it's just a brief pause. I don't see this as a major consequence, nor do I see it as a major concern to anyone who's about to get any shot. Whatever you're going to get, it safeguards you by a great sense of protecting you from what inevitably can be a significant problem if you do get COVID.
Well, since the last time you've been on the show, Doc, I went on and got the shot.
What?
Got my first one. I'm fessing up.
All right. Well, I'm congratulating you, brother. Excellent. What'd you get?
Moderna.
Okay. I call that the brother shot.
Why?
Because that was created by a black female. So that's the brother shot, I call it. That's our shot. Young lady out of UMBC, brought in through the great Meyerhoff program by Freeman Rabowski and his great job at UMBC. And he nurtured a gold mine of technologically brilliant people. And she being one of them who helped invent the shot. That's our shot, brother.
Power to the people.
There you go. I'm glad to have you. I'm glad you're on board.
Yes,
you
sir.
And I got the same shot. I got my second one last Wednesday. It was smooth sailing, nothing to it.
Diamond, you got a look of surprise on your face.
I mean, yes, I was surprised about a couple of things. Yeah, my face game, my poker face was not successful. Yeah, so I am. Well, I guess I'm surprised at the reaction about the factors with regards to the Johnson & Johnson specifically. The Pfizer and Moderna shots, I don't have the same issues that I have with the Johnson & Johnson. What really concerned me specifically about Johnson & Johnson, I don't have an issue with vaccines. I've had to take vaccines, of course, as a child, and before we go to school. So I don't have a problem with vaccines that are properly researched and given enough time to review the effects to the population. And yes, they did a small sample size, 30,000, something like that. But there were issues with that. I just think that the amount of doctors that I see co-signing this rush to market is surprising to me. But the efficacy of Johnson & Johnson specifically is lower than Pfizer and Moderna's vaccine. That concerned me. Past history with Johnson & Johnson products, the baby powder, the class action lawsuits with regards to that. The fact that Johnson & Johnson has lied to the American people for so long that we would be excited to take a vaccine from Johnson & Johnson specifically is concerning to me. And yes, it's only 6, but where there's smoke, there's fire. And if there's 6, there's 16. If it's 16, it's 36. I just think that they play with. We can't say that this clot came from the vaccine per se. So that 6 is underreported.
Well, you want me to jump in here, Donnie?
You are the expert. That's why
I will be happy to touch base with this. Number one, again, we go back too much information. The efficacy, when we look at talking about any shot, I would say to anybody, tell me what the efficacy of the flu shot is. Never been on average higher than 60%. Yet you give it. The average flu shots efficacy every year is 30 to 40%. So when I say too much information, here we start putting things out that we don't really know how to come to grips with. That efficacy does not mean not effective. And when you're in a pandemic situation, the quickness that we brought these things to market is just because of what the cost was to the general population in the world. FDA is full of great regulations that prolong things probably longer than they need to be. And that's what we're used to. In this situation, some of those things were suspended, but that does not mean suspended and loss of safety. I don't think we would have brought something to market, nor would I condone anything brought to market without, I think, having a safe protocol in place by those factors and powers that be that put it there. I, for one reason, as a pediatrician, do not even condone every shot that's out there. Some are not needed. Not that they're not safe. We actually over-vaccinate certain things. We overdo certain things, and we have to look at that. So I come with a situation and a conversation of common sense. And I'm also one who will not go back and throw something against my population just because we need to do it. I think no matter how much we have unsafetyness or unreadiness in the midst of something that can wipe out us greater than anyone, and which we have already seen with reaching close to 600,000 deaths. And I've got folks who I see every day, young people, older people, et cetera, who will now have morbidity and lifelong problems with their health secondary to be infected. I think this is the best way to approach it, even though I know we can still go with the Tuskegee conspiracy, so we can look at Johnson & Johnson's history. But all those things that were brought to the public are not always as they are said in the media, from the baby powders on down and across the spectrum of things. We have a lot of things we can explore, but overall, when I'm looking at something and putting it into totality, I think these are safe vehicles to go about. And I think we as a community need to look at that, because we harm ourselves when we don't get to a point where we start protecting ourselves.
Okay. I agree with that. Okay, so it's Thanksgiving, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go with me. Humor me for a moment. Thanksgiving.
Right.
We all want the turkey. Everybody's hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Takes 9 hours to cook the turkey. But we're really hungry. We want this turkey. And so we turn the flame up higher. It says cooking on 400. We turn it up to 600. And we cook it in 2 hours, 2.5, because we're really, really hungry. So we can eat the turkey. Get the turkey. Turkey's not cooked all the way. We really wanted the turkey. So we took the shortcut in the production of the turkey, in the cooking of the turkey, in the seasoning of the turkey. Turkey makes us sick because it ain't cooked in the inside. Our desire to be on the other side of this pandemic should not supersede the safety measures to get to, whatever the herd immunity that is desired, or the safety. We want our people and other people to be safe, and we want to be on the other side of this. But I just think that we have to balance that safety. And we say too much information is because in the social media era, nothing's going to be secret. Stuff's going to leak out. It's just, they're just going to put that information out there. And I think that with the short time span, more information has been released than normally would. Absolutely, because you want people got to be comfortable to take it. Because normally, if it takes 6 years of observation and we doing it in 6 months, people going to have some questions.
No question. You want me to throw something in there for you?
I just, yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, I got you. I wouldn't eat the 2-hour turkey either, but I'd look at a shot that has been looked at, but that has not gone through what you may look at in 6 years. The reason I say the 6 years and we look at it as your standard, because that's what you know. I was a physician, 6 years was never needed. The FDA is a super conservative agency. European countries have never gone under the guidance of the FDA and have had great drugs put on the market that save many lives, where we sit back in a holding pattern. So what we do when I say too much information, we as a public have been given something culturally. We have been given something in our day-to-day existence. We then base it on the knowledge that we're given. What you may even base it on is not even correct. So when we say 6 years, is that correct? Maybe 1 year is good enough. I'm looking at the scientific protocols of looking at controlled studies and looking at what is needed to move in a prudent fashion in a situation of an emergency. You got me? If we can't do that then we don't have any chance of doing it anytime. This is a pandemic. Maybe errors may be made, but within that situation, we have to do the best we can with what we have and the guidance we've been given. The scientific protocols have been held steadfast too. Just like if you got a house on fire, I'm not going back and grab my teddy bear if my butt gonna burn up. So that's an emergency thought. I've got to make a decision. What is most important in this fire for me to get out the house alive? And that's where we are right now. You in a house fire, and we need to get out alive with the most lives saved. Yes, there can be some deleterious situations. That's why you stop giving the shot with the 6 people. That's overdone to me. Absolutely overdone. You're holding up something that can save lives. But guess what? We are still with the situation, knowing we did some expedient movement to be prudent to say when something suspicious comes up, we then safeguard it even more. So I see this as a situation where the situation of being able to protect people outweigh some of the things that we would technically do that really would never had to do it. I will tell you right now, approval from FDA it's been changed forever from now on. You'll probably never see these prolonged situations, which it should have never been in the first place.
I didn't look at it like that. You know, Diamond, when you first mentioned Thanksgiving, a couple of months back when we did interview him, Dr. Z shared with us his philosophy on Thanksgiving dinner, and it might blow your mind, Diamond.
Yeah, but the philosophy is that, and of course, not even philosophy for Thanksgiving. I think the pandemic has been handled in a way that could have been much, let's say, better preservative of life's experiences. When you get a place where you're taking people within a holocaust, meaning that's what we have here. You have a life-changing situation where death can come to a given set of people, and some percentage is greater than another. And we have to be prudent, but we have to be able to live. So when I was telling him when we were last year, we were talking about the Thanksgiving, I said I would never have a problem with people going to each other's house on Thanksgiving. Never was the issue. The issue was teaching people how to move and navigate through the Thanksgiving dinner. So the mask, and I have done this in this office, I have never really, and I don't mind talking on right here on the show about it, I've never followed the CDC. I only follow Dr. Z. I got a brain just as smart as any scientist out there. I don't need somebody to direct me. I have the smarts to do that. So in this office, no one sat in the car. I never cleaned a pen. I never sterilized, cleaned it, anything. And we have no cases. People walked in with grandma because sometimes when you're sick, you need support. But I put a mask on as the requirement. A mask was better than a shot. A mask is not subject to mutations. A mask is not subject to variations. You put that mask on, you can navigate almost any pandemic. Social distance and things like that were needlessly overdone. So when I talked to him about the Thanksgiving, I said, bring old Aunt Harriet in with her 5 people. I throw Aunt Harriet in the living room. It's my house, my family in the kitchen. When Aunt Harriet wants to come to my table, she can't come because she's not a part of my cohort. When you have your cohort, you have to protect it like that's the last thing on life. The number one thing, and people didn't say it enough, it wasn't restaurants, it wasn't big gatherings. It was your family that killed you because you gave your family a pass. So if Aunt Harriet want to come out that living room, she better come with a mask or she better stay in there and let me holler through the walls. Uncle George could stay into the basement and he's there. And what good would that all have done? It gave me family. It gave me support. It had me spirit and energy to be able to navigate something that's going to hold me down for years. But we cut you off so much that you became cabin fever. You started to get hungry to see folks, and then you broke rules. When you have that little kid that's in a 2-family home and he's a 4-year-old and go to daddy's house and you can't trust daddy's house, when he went there for the weekend, when he come back, he's not like a walking time bomb. You no longer put him back in your cohort. That little kid will kill you. And I've seen it. And we never talk real. And when the health department goes out and contacts trace, I never liked it because they contact trace, but they don't teach trace. I teach every day. You walk in this office, I will find where you made an error. And when I teach you about your error, I don't say feel guilty. There you learned. This type of training conversation should have been long gone. But we got so much in technical scientists, you forget the common man like I do every day. When I take young people, old people, any type of people who have no insurance, and you walk them into your office so they can have health care. We take the barriers away here. And I've been doing it for 35 years. And so being on a show like this, giving out some commonsensical ways that we should live and navigate our lives is what we do and what we're trying to do today.
That's important.
What about getting on a plane, Doc?
Oh, get on it. I've been on it, baby. I went on down to Orlando, played my golf. Me and your buddy Bob, you know who that is. So I was on there with everybody going to Walt Disney World, and they were talking about social tracing. So I'd love to go out and just experiment on the craziness of America. So I'm sitting on a plane in the Southwest, every seat's full. I got snotty-nosed kids up and down the aisle, and you telling me about social distancing. I'm looking at Negroes, please. Okay, you give me a break here. So I wore my mask, played my golf, came on home because it's all craziness.
What about touching stuff?
Man, come on. You can touch all day, Donnie. I told you I ain't cleaned the pen. Okay, overdone again. I'm just being honest. You ain't getting COVID from licking your fingers. Okay, it just ain't happening. Never should have been discussed that way. COVID is a respiratory illness, 99.9% coming through your nostrils or mouth if you're breathing through your mouth. You put a mask on of any type. I don't care if you tied a t-shirt around your face. You are protecting yourself when you cover the areas that you breathe through. COVID is not coming through your eyes. I don't care what anybody told you. If it did, you're just unlucky. You must have hit the lotto 20 times by now. Okay? That's how unlucky you must have been. COVID does not come from your mama's pig feet and your potato salad. No. So, baby, get out there, loosen it up. Stop worrying about all this touchy-feely stuff. And this distancing is not needed if you have your mask on. If you don't put a mask on, distance becomes very important. So many of the restaurants shut down. Many of the things we've done, to me, were done in an over-aggressive fashion without the knowledge and not the courage to go against the great thoughts of the CDC.
So we've lost business unnecessarily?
Oh, no question. You put me in danger because even though I was open, you scared the people. They didn't come. So I have to sit back now and do some things to try to even keep myself open, to provide this barrelless, costless healthcare that I've done for 35 years. You put us all on the fringes of being even have our existence, our whole lifestyles, whole things that we've been used to are changing. This is not going to be the same world. But we have put some things needlessly in places because we were following recommendations that even the people who recommended really didn't know. These were just things that look good on paper, but how did they work in reality? Now I have a year of study. I've had an office that's functioned just as I'm telling you, and everybody's happy. I hug my patients every day. I ain't doing that bumping no elbows. I'm hugging people because people need hugs. People need to feel comfort. People need to be touched. And we sometimes let people still to this day go into hospitals and die alone. I will tell you 20% of your COVID deaths are from the apathy and the insistence of being isolated. You can't heal a man without a hug. You can't heal a man without a touch. You have to change the basis of how we've been looking at things. And it's time to be real and talk about it because this battle ain't over yet.
I'm guilty. So you can talk about something else. Because I would elbows. I don't want no, don't touch. Nah.
Right. I got you.
Wiping hands, but I'm going
and I don't tell everybody. I tell everybody that's bonus points. If you want to do that, okay, you got some bonus points. But basically, you don't do that into the light of not putting that mask on. What I'm saying, more than anything you can talk about, you wear a mask. A mask saves lives. And until we get herd immunity and we got this sucker under control, every patient that comes in this office every day, and I got one coming in today who was sick in the hospital, 27-year-old, basically almost near death and on a vent. I bring COVID to me. I don't run from it because many times we have doctors who do not teach correctly, do not protect you correctly, and you are at a disadvantage when you don't have all the arsenals that you need and all the factors that you need to be able to protect yourself, even when you get an illness. You don't teach them how to use inhalers. You don't teach them how to take their medicine. Hey, like if you're 40 and you can't swallow a pill, then you don't give you a pill. You give them some liquid. You give you some suspension. That's what I'm talking about. And sometimes we don't have the wherewithal or knowledge to even protect ourselves. That's why I'm here. You have to use those individuals who have the gifts and the knowledge to protect the general population. So I would never send my people into the gas chamber. What I'm sitting here telling you to do is to help us as a total situation. So we as a population that have the low resources, the low infrastructure, the low ways of communicating ourselves and mechanism to get to any shot or have any health care. We have to break these barriers, as you know, for 35 years and longer. Since the 60s, my dad did this. We have been on the benchmark of taking care of folks in this city, and this is what has to be done. And it is not happening across this university.
And for those who may not know, your dad was among the founding fathers of Garwin Medical Center.
That's right.
You know about Garwin?
Wow.
And 13 years after his death, I came back, and he did that just for 10 years, and the mark was made. And still, after all those years, we still remember that medical clinic. First medical clinic run by Black folks. We had the Black pharmacy. We had the Black radiologist. We had every specialty Black. We had all that. What we got in there? Nothing. Nothing. We have not gone forward. We've gone a major steps back. I'm one of the last vestiges of the old school doctor who's going to bust his booty for you, because doctoring is not just medicine. It's an art. To heal a person is an art. It's a skill that you got. Some folk don't need the same things the other person. Sometimes somebody needs a conversation just because they're stressed out of the mind on the directions of which our culture and society is taking itself. So when we look at this, we still need this old school mentality as technology continues to move itself. I train nurse practitioners every day on the art of healing, not on art of reading a computer and talk and tell you what your disease is, when half the time they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Okay, got a case scenario for you. Pennsylvania Avenue, dollar store. I'm in line. You got a dot. You're supposed to stand on your dot. The people in front of you are supposed to stand on their dot, and the people behind you.
Right.
So I turn around, and on my heels, it's not a grown person, it's a little person, half my size. A little boy and a little girl, and the daddy's behind them, and he's looking way in left field.
Right.
And I turn around and say, "Get back, shorty." And I didn't know it was a girl. I thought it was a little boy. That's why I said shorty. I'd have said lady.
Right.
But anyway, they totally ignored me.
Right.
In the dollar store, and that's when the fight broke out. Well, in my mind, because I knew I just wanted to get out of there. Take me through the stress of being in the store with people with no mask on. Help me out.
People with no mask. They didn't have a mask. Well, they're breaking the rules already if you don't have a mask in the store. Now, if you're not standing on your little dot, I'm telling you, if you have your mask, and I'm telling you so you can now take the anxiety away, you're safe. His mask makes you exponentially safer. So even when I see people with no mask, it doesn't fear me. It doesn't bring fear to my heart. It doesn't make me get anxious. I just go on long as I got my mask. I ain't worried about none of you other characters. You cats can do what the heck you want. If you want to kill yourself, kill yourself. But I say, once you have that mask, even though it says the store to dot, I follow the rules of the store. I'm not going to go sit there because I know better. I'm not here to try to browbeat somebody because I have better knowledge. No, I work within the system, but I want you to feel safe and assured that you had no worry of that little boy if you had your mask on. Now, if you didn't have a mask on, you about as crazy as his butt. Okay? So point being is, as long as you got the mask, you are safe. You wear it, and like I say, prudently, and think about your cohort. When you are alone, your cohort is yourself. You have to protect yourself. But we don't have to go overboard where we got folks at one time where they shoot people because of their mask. We done had deaths because of the mask argument. Needlessly done, shouldn't have been done, but we lose our minds when we don't have the guidance which we should. We should have had this common sense conversation on a national stage when this started. But you always go pick the folk with a pedigree. You play the game. Like I tell you, black folk with a black fake ain't always out here to protect you. I always said a white man who's rich act like a black man. A black man who's rich act like a white man who's rich. He don't go like poor black people either. So when we get real, let's be real. We have to be here. I still got a house in the hood. If you don't have a house in the hood, then you ain't worth a darn as a doctor to me. Not that you got to be there, but your mentality has to be there. If you want to care about folk, you can't run from them and tell me how much you love them, but you won't be around them. How can you heal a population that you can get yourself involved with? This is insanity that we live in. We continue to go with the okie doke, and it needs to stop. Federally mandated centers been in the nation for years. What have they done for the black population of health? Nothing. They're full of black faces, but the charge is given by a government and you run nothing. Just because you're black face in the house don't mean you got control.
Diamond, any thoughts? Any questions?
I totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, it's so important. Like, when you were talking about having the house, and your presence has to be there, your mindset has to be there, and you can't forget the mentality of your people. So that's super important in order to
Right.
be helpful and effective. Absolutely.
No questions, Diamond? You have the
No, I
foremost.
mean, I don't. What my concern was, I said earlier, but as it relates, he was talking about being on the plane. I've been on the plane several times between Baltimore and Atlanta, and yeah, definitely masking up. I don't wear gloves, and do that whole thing. But I do notice that I've washed my hands a lot more than I did pre-pandemic, just out of an abundance of caution. But definitely wearing a mask is. Why do we have so many conflicting theories with the masks? You heard some people in other areas talking about the mask is more dangerous than it is helpful, or is infringing on their rights. Like, what is the big deal? And like with doctors, y'all pretty much always wore masks when you came, in the room and stuff. So, but what is the big deal with people with regards to this?
Too many people trying to get their own press, too much information, just too much getting things and trying to poke holes in anybody's theory and make yourself look like you're the master of the info. It's an egotistical thing. It's a selfish thing. And you needed that central person. And that's why I said I didn't follow the CDC here, because I knew it'd be chaos. I followed me. What makes somebody in the CDC stronger than this black man who's in front of you with his brain? I don't need you to come lead me. I can lead you. And many times you never put the common doctor who's on the front lines in front of those TV cameras. That's what you didn't do. You don't give us the credit because we the inner city doc. You try to dismiss us because you ain't in a university. No, we are the people who champion and make do with what we have. When we don't have a stethoscope, we'll rub some sticks together and we'll figure out how to do it. I'll feel your chest and see if you got a heart attack. I'll touch your body to see what you need. We make do with what we're giving, and many times not giving the credit to what we do. Just like Donna said, Garvin Medical was a wonder. We didn't keep it because we didn't do all the things we need to economically, but God darn it, we built it. And we let a society destroy us because we let big business come into medicine. You cannot have a good medical, let's say, system where capitalism is involved. And that's what the United States had. High cost, very little influence. We are still probably worse off than 69 and 70 something when we had the Garvin Medical Center. Where do we go now? You're disenfranchised. You're all over the place. You're just scrambling around with no leader. This is what we got. And we got to also throw ourselves out with truth. Many times we sit there and listen to people talk, and we're not talking with truth. Our truth becomes an emotional construct where we say anything black. If you get against a black person, something's wrong with you. And we make our big mistake there. We're going nowhere fast. We're economically in a vast divide where rich got everything and there's no middle class, and you're suffering the hostilities of poor. When people die in the streets of Baltimore, it ain't because of all the things we say, well, you shouldn't hurt each other. You're going to keep hurting each other when you can't feed yourself. You're going to keep hurting each other when you have no house. You're going to keep hurting when you have a job you tell me to keep working with and take care of myself when I'm only making minimum wage. Are we crazy? You're turning people into animals. They're grabbing at the crab backs, and not just because we try to pull each other up. No, some of this is pulling ourselves into a chaotic situation where we cannot function. And this is what we fall prey to. And we have got to stop. It's time to speak truth. And sometimes you got to go against the folks marching in the street to educate them, because if you march to the goal without truth, you will die at the finish line.
Wow. Dr. Z, any final thoughts? How can people get in touch with you? I got to talk with these gentlemen about some politics and some DMX.
All right. Folks can call me. You know, Don, you put anything out there. I'm at this office. It's a community center. You walk yourself in here, you're seen. I don't care about appointments. I don't care about anything. I'm not here to push me because, I'm the biggest thing out here anyway. I've been taking care of folks for 35 years. I ain't looking for patients, but guess what? Everybody has a home. I don't stop taking you. I don't care what age you are. I don't care who you are. You get in here. If you ain't got $1 in your pocket, you will not be charged a dime. Like I said, I took capitalism out of healthcare. What you can do for me, Donnie, I'm throwing a project to keep what I've been doing for years going. It's called $1 for 1 million. We will have a GoFundMe within the next 4 weeks. I'm going to call myself the St. Jude's of primary care.
Please send it to me.
Huh?
I will put all of our resources down in this.
You and I are going to shoot the breeze because we got to change what we do. It's called moral capitalism. You got something more than the next man next to you. You got to give it to him so he can survive. And we as a society need to get this. So $1 for 1 million. That means we're 1 million of us are in this together to change the aspects of what we need to do, just not in healthcare, but as a society. Boom. I'm out of here.
Yes, sir. We'll send me the information and we'll get it out there. Thank you.
Have a good
one. My buddies.
Wow. Larry Wallace, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Welcome to be here. Thanks for being here, man. Appreciate y'all. How y'all doing out there?
Diamond K, you know this guy?
I don't believe we met before, but I know who he is.
You about to meet in person, virtually, a legend. Where were you this weekend, Larry Wallace?
White Plain, New York. Dmx at the hospital before he passed. Rest in peace.
I couldn't believe you was up there at the hospital, man.
Yeah, man. You know, I had to go everywhere, man. I mean, he tested us through many years, and, you know, we have to get the news before the news. Look, I got that from you. Only you could do that, Donnie. But I appreciate you, man. Yeah, because you inspired me. Believe it or not, you inspired me. And I'm here to tell you that on your show.
You used to drive me to the radio station, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate it, man. I was happy for you being in my company. You know, it's a present. It's feel good when you have a legend with you who teaching you ropes, who've been in the game long time. And with your million views, I learned a lot from you, man.
Well, this cat Diamond K is a legend in his own right, man.
Okay, Diamond K. DJ Diamond K. Wow. Great, man.
Mm-hmm.
Nice to meet you.
So Diamond, one of the things I wanted to ask you was about these black mayors. And I did some research. Let me hear your thoughts on it. Black women mayors, new black women mayors in the United States.
Wow.
Like in St. Louis.
St. Louis, yeah. Who's the lady in St. Louis?
I messed up her name. Her name starts with a T. I messed up the pronunciation. But she swears in on April 20th. And you know, so all of the issues in Ferguson that happened, it is ironic that we now have a black female mayor of St. Louis. So, you know, Ferguson obviously being part of that.
Ella Jones. Her name is Ella Jones. Ella Jones.
Yep, I heard you.
Yeah, Ella Jones elected first. Oh, no. My bad. First black mayor of Ferguson. My bad. And this is St. Louis 2 days ago. And both me and you done slipped on our research. April 12th.
On her, yeah.
Tishara, that's it. My bad. Tishara Jones.
I know it was with a T.
Yeah, you knew she had an Ebonics name. Okay, Tishara Jones. There you go. I know you looked at that name. How do I pronounce this?
Yeah, I ain't want to try it, but she's really a very, very strong lady. Has a 13-year-old son, and obviously, you know, she could see that. I mean, just when you have a black male child in America today, it puts you in a different mindset. You know, with the safety of your son out in this world.
Okay. Okay. So
It does.
what about Boston?
It does. I mean, you know.
Boston has a black mayor too. She's acting at the present, Kim Janey. Now you know
Right.
Boston.
She's getting ready. Yeah, she's getting ready to run for a full term.
How does that work?
Yeah,
Boston?
she's yeah. I mean, now she was a product of busing and experienced a lot of racism. She grew up in Boston, and yeah, she's definitely somebody that we need to keep our eyes on. I think that she's going to be around for a long time and probably going to seek higher office as well.
Okay, and then one more, Chicago. Well, actually, Chicago, Lori Lightfoot, and San Francisco, London Breed. Let me just ask you, Larry, any thoughts on these black women now mayors, first-time mayors of major cities? You've traveled all over the country,
right? It's amazing. I applaud black women being taking leaders and doing what they do, because they got the strength, they got the power, and I know they can do it. So it's a great look, and people will get behind them and support them. They are black queens, man.
Larry. Tell me about your before going to Yonkers. You've been to some other places. Let's do a recap of your 2020-2021 world tour. And
Yeah, well,
where'd you get that hat, man? Where that hat from?
Oh, from Hollywood, Hollywood, California. And yeah, I went up there. But when I first started traveling, I was Taxi Talk Radio, which I'm still is. But I said, you know what? When George Floyd died, I went out there to interview, went on the scene with George Floyd. The city was burning down, the police station, people was going to Target, everything was open season. The chief of Minnesota, the fire department, told the fire people to let down, hands down. If anything catch on fire, do not put it out, because people was attacking the fire people, the firefighters. So that's why everything was burning for 2 days. It was continued burning. So I was in that. And then I went to the funeral in Houston, Texas, and I talked with Jamie Foxx as well. And then after that, I went to California to do the homeless people out in California. And also the mic that I interviewed Jamie Foxx with, I framed it. I went to Hollywood. That's where I got the hat from, Hollywood. And when I came on,
How is Jamie? What kind of person is he?
Oh, Jamie Foxx was cool, man. It was a lot of people was trying to interview him, and I was as well. And then when he got in his limousine, I walked back and I stood by myself. And then he rolled the window down. He said, "Hey, man, come here, man." So I went to him and I told him I'm from Baltimore, and Taxi Talk Radio at the time. Now I'm Uncut News. He talked to me, man. That was down to earth, man. That was cool. I didn't catch it until later, that I was interviewing him, and I found out that a lot of people be trying to get that interview, and I was one of a million to get that. So I appreciate Jamie Foxx. I appreciate him giving me the opportunity.
But I would imagine he appreciated your diligence too, because I heard him tell a similar story. I don't remember the celebrity, but I think I heard him say he essentially stalked some superstars until they recognized him, until they acknowledged him.
Wow. Yeah.
When he was on the come up.
So that's great, man. Yeah. So after that, and then I came on back and I went to Atlanta, Georgia. Remember when the police shot the guy in the back at Wendy's? So I flew down there, and I was wondering why all these camera people was across the street. I went into the restaurant where everybody was at, right? So I went there and I interviewed people, and then seeing the news and them, they came in and tried to interview people. They chased them out. They said, "You're not welcome over here." I did not know that the reporters couldn't come in the lot. So they were telling me that, hey, he interviewing them. And the people said, well, he independent. So it's something about me, I guess. I'm interviewing the people, and they won't even let the regular media people interview them. So that's that's got me thinking. And then after that, I went to Alabama. With Kathy Purell, man, she locked up. Is it Alabama? I'll be going so many places. You know, Kathy Purell, she's in a federal jail. I went down there to try to see her. I went on the prison gates and they kicked me off. They said, now you can't come here because of the COVID, plus, you know, everything locked down. So I did try to see our mayor, ex-mayor Kathy Purell. And then I went to South Carolina. I went back to California. And then I went up to New York. So basically, I'm getting ready to hit on back to Minnesota, probably the beginning of next week. You know,
well, Kelly Vaughn's supposed to be going out there too.
Okay, really? So okay,
yeah,
we'll meet.
She's watching this show right now.
Wow, thank you. And not only that, I went to Kentucky, Breonna Taylor. Wow, man, and they was clearing the streets, man. It's terrible up there. The cops out there, man, you'd be surprised. They different. You know, I interviewed people, they be locking up people. They put like 30 people in one cell and they stayed chained up to the gates. I interviewed the girl who just got out of the jail and she was saying that they put everybody in a cell, like, you know, them little teeny cells, like 30 people in there, man. And no water, nothing. They keep them in there for like 13 hours and then they release them. Yeah, so I was in Kentucky. Them cops is hard out there, man. And plus, you can have a gun. You can have a weapon on you.
Okay, Diamond K, you know anything about this stuff?
As far as him visiting some of these hotspots?
Yeah, I see you shaking your head.
I did not know. I did not know that he was that he was going to some of these hotspots. I think that is incredible and very commendable.
Yeah. Definitely. And not only that, in Los Angeles, when danger almost came my way, you know where Nipsey's at? Nipsey, I went to see, I went to the marathon to interview the people, right? Man, they tried to push me in the hole. I had to jump out. I had to get out of there and take off. I didn't know. I mean, I feel like I was in danger at that spot just by, you know, trying to interview people. So this job, what we do, interviewing people is really not safe. I mean, but, you know, it's dangerous. And I just do it for the people. I do what I do because maybe the right person might see what I do and just support. So, you know, I'm getting the news in, and I like what your logo, the news before the news. I love that, man. But I know I can't mess with it because it's yours. But you know, that's why I'm Uncut News.
Feel free. Do your thing.
I can't. You know, whenever I say that, I always think of you, and then I switch it back to Uncut News because that's already taken.
You're my brother. You're my brother. It's just like Black Wall Street. Now, y'all know I got a book coming out on Black Wall Street.
Absolutely.
And we've been doing Black Wall Street events, Diamond K. I don't know if you know, for 10 years. This is our 10th year, and it coincides with the 100th commemoration of the destruction of Black Wall Street. And what I'm getting to is, early on, when I would get phone calls, they say, "Hey, Donnie, we heard about this Black Wall Street event down here in DC. Is it yours?" I say, "No, it's not mine." I would feel a certain kind of way about it. And then it dawned on me, dude, you should be glad. That means the more Black Wall Street events I hear about, that means the better I've done my part in helping to brand it. Now, everybody's talking about Black Wall Street. Even Donald Trump was talking about Black Wall Street, cuz.
Wow.
So, more the merrier, and imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. But anyway, this book is coming out, I Am Black Wall Street, and everywhere we were, long story short, everywhere there were Black people, there was some type of business person. But Diamond K, I got a question for you and Larry.
Sure.
Bear with me a second. Let me get down to it. Do you know, talk to me about this story right here. Kim Potter.
The now ex-police officer, is that who you're referring to?
And she was the head of the union. Did you know that?
Yeah, I knew that. 26-year veteran. was actually training someone that day that she killed Dante Wright. And so I was very angry with a couple of things. Obviously, her actions that day. They say that officers put the taser on the weaker side, not the hand that you write with, on the other side of your belt, and the gun is supposed to be on your stronger side, whichever side that you write with. So you don't confuse pulling the taser when you meant to pull the gun, right? And she's a trainer, 26 years. So she became licensed as a police officer when she was 22 years old. 26 years she's been an officer. She was older when she became a police officer than young Dante Wright was when she killed him, only 20 years old. She knew better. The fact that she's using the "I made a mistake" excuse is very offensive because nobody believes that. You can look at a taser and even before she pulled the trigger, if you can stomach looking at the police body cam footage, you can see that it's a gun. The officer beside her can see that it's a gun. Before when she's still yelling taser, taser, she has the gun out, right? So it's so maddening. So she has now resigned. She was on the typical administrative leave thing that they do, go home and get paid while we sort it out. I was super upset about the police chief that just proclaimed that this was an accident. It's supposed to be under investigation. He just says automatically, "Oh, it was just an accident. She meant to pull out the taser." You know what I mean? How do you know that? How is he able to make that determination so quickly? And police have done that for so long, and it is crazy that we have let this happen in this country for this amount of time. If I'm in a car and I get to the crosswalk, somebody's walking across the street, and I meant to push the brakes, but I pushed the gas and run them over and kill them. I can't say, well, I meant to push the brakes, but I accidentally pushed the gas, and it's all good, and I'm not going to be charged with murder.
Now I got a question about pushing the gas and brake. That can happen. That can be a mistake on the gas and brake. It can be.
It can be. I mean, anything can be, right? But it's just so. It's the probability of it happening. It can happen. But do you think that I'm just going to get off and they're just going to say, "Oh, okay, no problem"? That's just an excuse that you make. And if they let this excuse go, every cop that kills a black man is going to say, "I meant to pull the taser, but I pulled the gun and we shot him 7 times."
Wow, yeah, it makes sense.
And this is a trainer. This is somebody who is training other officers. And we look at her actions and then her excuse. You wouldn't deal with this excuse from your subordinate, but a so-called trainer, a veteran, a senior officer in the police force is saying, just flippantly, "My bad. Oh, I shot him." Like, what? They're hiring the wrong people, and the laws are wrong, and they're hiring the wrong people.
Right. Yeah.
What do you think, Larry?
Man, how can you get a taser mixed up with a gun? That's it, because it feels different. It's bigger and bulky. I mean, come on, man. So I mean, you don't have to see through that. You just can't get the two mixed up. And plus, both of them supposed to be in a different location, a different spot. Your gun probably be close up to your hip, and your taser probably on a different side or whatever pocket. And then when you grab the wrong thing, just like if I grab 2 cell phones, if I grab one in the case, I'm gonna know, oh, that's my Note 10, and this is my iPhone. I'm gonna know the difference. You can feel the difference before you use it. So I don't know how she's gonna get that one done. I just don't know.
Do either one of you own a gun?
No, I never had a gun before, so. but I can look at the
Well,
gun.
well, you like to get up to the cell phone. Well, people who have a gun, they say that you should be able to tell the difference between a real gun, which is, you know, heavier,
Yes, you can.
versus the plastic gun. They're not even shaped the same.
No, not at all.
Right.
Not at all. The trigger's different. Everything is different.
Mm-hmm.
And it's different on purpose.
They were talking about this last night. Hey, Marbury States, check your email, Marbury States. You can come on in. Derek Burnett, police rights are greater than citizens' rights. Hey, Marbury, check your email. I believe Tiger was asking because he hit the gas instead of the brake. Well, y'all gone all over the place. And this guy, Elder Soriano, I'm not sure why he's mad at black people today. Okay, all right. So what else going on?
What's up with that?
I'm not sure. He must not have saw that we have Janet Arcee on this show all the time, and we have nothing but black Latino camaraderie. And don't slight my own. I got a Puerto Rican grandfather, so I'm not sure what language he's speaking. But Larry, you're going to Minneapolis?
Yeah, I'm going up there next week, hopefully. Because I believe that the trial is getting ready to end, and I'm basically going to be there when things let out, because I know how it's going to be when it let out. So
and you say you don't, and you say you don't have a gun.
I don't have a gun. I never owned a gun in my life. I know that we need to get guns and something like that, but
absolutely,
but we need to. But I know by my job, I'm a cab driver as well. Sometimes when people do things to you, you act right away with having a gun. Just like people, like about 10 people came up to me about January the 1st with baseball bats and sticks and knives. If I had a weapon on me, you know, I'm probably waiting for trial right now and holding without bail. So, you know, sometimes not having a gun is good for me. I'm talking about for me, because people like to pull up on me at my house. I come out my house, people pull out bats. I go eat at a restaurant dinner, people come and disturb my dinner. So
somebody pull up at your house with a bat?
Yeah. Actually, about maybe a month ago, these people were sitting at my door, and before I come in the house, you know, I'm observative, right? So I go around the block and come back and park behind them and turn my Facebook on, record everything, and then the people go around the block, and then when they was coming behind me, I pulled out, and the people tried to cut me off the road, man. And then I went around, got their tag number, and I sit back, and I came walking into my house and pulled the bat out. So, you know, you come into my home doing that, but guess what? It was females. Because I blocked them on my Facebook page. Because I blocked them on my Facebook page. When you block people, they get upset. And then another man came to my house a week ago, and he was in a car and tried to run me over. So, you know, sometimes for me, it's not good for me to have a gun, you know, even though trouble come my way.
Yeah, I mean, if it's gonna be like that, but
Larry, I'm gonna put a commercial up for you. This was sent by brother Rennie Bass, because it sounds like you got some challenges, and we might need to get some protection up there. Rennie sent me a thing about cutting the violence in Baltimore City. Larry, you can't be getting beat up out there. What's this all about?
It's when you block people on your Facebook. I got a lot of stalkers, and I got a lot of.
Here you go. Positive impact. Our main objective is to reduce violence and call this number, Larry. 443-467-1266. But also, Larry, you ever consider getting a German Shepherd?
Yes, I do want one. You know, I used to be a K9 trainer in high school.
This young man said stop blocking people. No, some people got to get blocked. He don't understand. Some people got to get blocked because it's to protect your peace of mind. And then other people, you just got to ignore them. But don't come on my page talking no smack. And then, hey, Diamond,
yeah, I don't block anybody.
No.
No, I don't block anybody.
You have never blocked nobody?
Nope. I love the promotion. I love the back and forth. I got time for it. And yeah, because any people that's coming on your page to say stuff negative or positive, they promoting you.
I like
you are
that.
on their mind. Yeah. So
people tell me that before.
Like I used to tell my sisters when the guy was pulling their hair when they were in elementary school, that guy likes you. You know what I mean? He just don't know how to show it, but that guy likes you. And these people are supporters. They just don't know how to show it all the time.
Right.
They trying to come on your page every day, jumping in your comment section.
Let's talk about that, Dmx. How have you been successful in selling advertising and getting people to financially support your enterprises?
I mean, it's always could be better. It's always room for more. But to me, success anytime if you have not reached the point where you're selling something, then you're not in business yet. You know what I mean? So when you say successful, I mean it's just building blocks. It's just finding. We're talking about the Garwin Medical Center. It's just our people have been severely impacted with self-doubt and thinking that others are better than our own. You know,
so
what
you
I mean?
more like you more
and so that just
you more polite than me. You got black white supremacists. Let me just say it.
Yes. I said that differently.
You got black white supremacists, quote unquote Bob.
I wouldn't. You do have that. You do have that, but I don't think that the overall masses of our people are that. I believe because to me, a white supremacist thinks that it's an intentional thing, and I think that a lot of our people have been brainwashed. They've been brainwashed, and they're not intentionally trying to put down black people. They're just doing what they've been taught, and it's just like an automatic thing. But that relationship between thinking that the white thing is better is why you can give it that white supremacist tag. But they're not like a hood on the head Klan member. It's just that they just think that something else is better because, and here's why, because the civil rights generation for so long was preaching, let us in, please, let us use the white water fountain, let's go to the, and they were preaching that for so long, so that was passed down to the next generation to thinking that we have to be included with that in order for us to have something of quality. And instead of focusing more on building up our own stuff and bringing that up to and beyond, because I talked with an older black person of the civil rights generation about this very thing, and he said to me that we wanted to use the white water fountain because the white one was better, it was cleaner, and it worked better. And I was baffled with his answer, and I said, well, why didn't you fix up the black water fountain? And he just looked at me like, I had dropped some science on him, and like he never thought of that. It's just, yes, he said that ours was messed up, it was dirty, it was not, but we could have fixed it up. But the goal was, no, we need to go to the white one, and this has continued to affect. Somebody in the comment section said post-traumatic disorder, and that is true. That is true, and we're passing it on to generations after.
Let me tell you something else they talked on one of the shows about. They talked about this is Derek Burnett on the town hall. He talked about the Negro Leagues. Did you ever watch Bingo bingo, something in the All Stars, the Traveling All Stars, had Billy D. Williams, Richard Pryor in it. It was a movie about the Negro Leagues, and the scene that comes to mind.
I remember that. Yeah, vaguely.
Is when the young home run king got hired by the white leagues, and I remember that look on Billy D's face and Richard Pryor's face, like this is the beginning of the end. We wanted so much to leave our neighborhoods to move to Randallstown that we forsaked what we actually already had. And I would venture to say we got a better quality of education when we were segregated.
Yes.
We had our own, just like what's coming up, Black Wall Street. We had our own. So we've heard every excuse from white America as to why they won't do right by us. We've done it the right way. We've done it the other way. You know, the Kennedys can go sell liquor during Prohibition and become president.
Wow.
The Kennedys can sell liquor during Prohibition
and do business with Nazi Germany.
But you a black man, it's just like a black Republican. White people can be Democrat, Republican. Let a black man choose Republican. Oh my God. Yeah. But I got one question for you. How do Democrats treat black people in Baltimore City? 9-1 Democrat. Last I checked, East Baltimore looked like Baghdad.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. It's a complicated issue, and it's a loaded question. So you have Democrats and you have Republicans, right? You have that, and then you have the race factor, and then you have the haves and the have-nots. And so all of those things come into play when you talk about the condition of Baltimore City. Democrats and Republicans is one thing. Black and white is one thing, and money, and the haves and the have-nots. Those are all the factors. And when one fact, Democrat, Republican, that's not the major issue in Baltimore City. But a Republican would have a lot of trouble getting elected because of the perception. But we're talking about money. We're talking about contracts. We're talking about racism. That's the biggest issue in the condition of Baltimore City is racism.
I would say it's classism.
And the racism of people that have money.
So that's classism.
Yeah.
Black people in position. We got black people, executive director, CEO, in charge of everything. But it is not translating into economic development of the black community. Because we get bumped out the way by Johns Hopkins, University of Maryland, Whiting Turner. The big white boys ain't letting the little black dogs eat at all. Oh, here's a couple of crumbs for you. We don't want those
contracts. I mean, it's easier for them to elevate one of us than it is for them to really change things. And the person that they elevate is just a cog in the machine if they don't have a real plan and other people working with them to execute this plan.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Larry?
That's why I'm so concerned.
Mm-hmm. Come on, Larry.
What's my thought?
This is so concerning.
Well, like you said, Democrats. I mean, look at the city of Baltimore. All Democrats in leader in charge. And what they doing for us? What are they really giving us equal rights in Baltimore? All the people in charge is Democrats in Baltimore. And what we getting? Everybody, we should have own houses. These houses should be $1 house so everybody can have. Why are the houses still sitting and boarded up? If Democrats is in charge, why can't the Democrats give everybody a house for $1 and let's get this city together? So that's right there, number one. Now, if Republicans had this city, don't you think the Republicans would give it to the Republicans? So that's right there telling you that we not sticking together, and we in charge right now. This is when we should give everybody a house, $1, and bring Baltimore up, man. Because who in charge? Everybody, Democrats in charge right now, right? Baltimore City. So
that's a good question. Who is in charge? We are the people who are the mayor, the comptroller, the city council president. Are they really in charge?
Well, are they? Or they just got the title? Do the Democrats got the title and then Republicans still in charge, even though the Democrats got it?
No, I don't mean the politicians. I think big money is in charge, baby.
Big money.
Absolutely. Just like of the country, the donors control things.
Right. So
in the shadows, that's Baltimore, that's America.
But let me say this: we need you guys. We need black media in this town. If it's in the Baltimore Sun, if it's in the Baltimore Brew, I get so sick of black people talking about they wrote about me in the Brew. They wrote about me in the Brew. The Brew is not your friend. Your friends do not lynch you in public. Your friends don't watch you get lynched in public, and your friends don't help you get lynched in public. So I wish black people wake up and smell a damn Maxwell House.
Right. Exactly.
The Sun has never been your friend. Never, ever, ever. And the mainstream television news, including the most egregious Foxx, they are not your friends. Black people, they're not your friends.
And never will be.
No, they won't.
And never will be.
Now, Donnie, I got a question for you. I got a question, Donnie. Look, now by me out there, I was doing something, and you told me something very popular information. You know, I don't know, but I'm gonna say this, folks. Like the white folks, they're gonna get all the news coverage. The black people, we're not gonna get all the news coverage. So that's why it should be black media that get the black folks, give them the more viewing, give them the more television vibes, because the white folks are already getting more. Like for instance, our French Crab House, right? I broke some of that news, right? I had about 1 million people on my Facebook page at one time, right? But to make a long story short, if the news people come and interview them, they would get like 30 minutes coverage. And when they interview the black folks, they get like 1 minute or 2 minutes or 5 minutes at most. So, Donnie, you told me a lot, believe it or not, man. Ever since we had that talk, I've been watching the media, the news, and I've been comparing. And I said, man, that man know what he's talking about. I said, man, you know what you're talking about. Because when we had that conversation, I watched it. You know, I'm gonna check things out for myself, right? Man, you are so correct. I mean, you've been doing this for a long time, so you know. So
just as long as you, we need black media. Dmx, how can people support you, big brother?
People can support me by going to radioonfire.com, and that's the best way. That is the best way.
Larry, you know about Radio on Fire?
No, but I will find out. Oh, is this a DJ be on YouTube and stuff, be playing music and stuff? You look familiar. That's you?
Yeah, that is also me. Yep.
Oh my goodness, that's him. Okay, but this guy's popular, man, because I be seeing him. Yeah. So I didn't know about the what's your channel, your station?
Radio on Fire.
Radio on Fire.com. What is it?
Yeah, radioonfire.com.
Okay. Wow. And then he on Facebook too, Donnie. Right? Or that's the same thing?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay, because I'll be scrolling and I'll be seeing them. So you're doing a great job.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Larry,
I'm
sorry. Go ahead.
You say, how can people contact me?
Yes.
My YouTube channel is Taxi Talking Radio. That's Taxi Talking Radio. My Facebook channel, Larry Wallace is my name. Uncut News. If you need the news, you just give me a call, 443-839-8412, 443-839-8412, and I will fly anywhere that you bring me to, you send me to. People normally they be sending me places, Donnie.
I got one question for both of you before we go. Let's start with you, Diamond. Why do you do media? Why? What's your why?
I know that I have something to say, and like we spoke about, mainstream media is not going to allow me to say the things that need to be said. So I had to create my own platform in order to push this information to the people. So that is why I do media.
Larry?
I do media because, I came up in special ed. Be honest with you, elementary school, middle school, and high school. And, the opportunity that I'm doing, people say, wow, how are you doing this? But I'm not reading, I'm not writing, I'm just things just coming out my mind, I'm just doing it. I go places with no money. I just get on Facebook and people like I started with the corona when it came out, I started the Love Doctor show at night. Entertainment.
Oh. Dr. K, you know about this? Diamond K, you know about this?
I do not.
He got a pseudo. This the Love Doctor, man.
Yeah. I come on at night, and I talk to people because they all in bed, we all locked in the house for the corona. So I came up with something and talk about how people can meet people, love people, single, togetherness, or all the parts of your body, the touching, everything. So I came up with that, and then in the morning time I do coffee with Larry, do a coffee show, and then when I leave the house I do Uncut News. So and then I start flying, and like when George Floyd, when he was murdered, I cannot throw my cash app, not my cash app up for this show.
Do your thing.
When things happen, people want to send me places, and I say $ celebrity cab, and people start sending me money to go fly places. And I go places, I book a ticket, I get on a plane, and then when I come down, more money come in my account to get hotels, to get cars. And I don't have any money when I go places. God is good. God is real. I do things on faith.
What's your cash app?
$ celebrity cab. That's $ celebrity cab. And I go places and I do things just to let people know that you can be anybody you want. You can go anywhere you want. Just put your mind to it. And I go to these places and people be talking to me. I have a mic and I have a cell phone. And people let me interview them and talk to me. And it's amazing how people love what I do. So I'm doing it for the people, man.
How many people listen to you every night?
Sometimes 1,000, and then sometimes it go up to a couple thousand, and then sometimes you get 30,000. So it fluctuates up and down. And I'm just doing it. Sky's the limit. And Donnie, the great opportunity, man, it come from you, man. Believe it or not, I'm telling you, man, you inspire me to continue to motivate me to do what I'm doing. Whenever you call me, I always listen. I always answer your calls. I don't answer everybody's calls, but I answer your call, Donnie, because look, you the man. You the man. Whatever you doing, you keep doing it because people is learning from you. They watching you. And you say, what make me aspire to keep doing this? Because people calls me and they love what I do and they watches me. So everybody, DJ, his name went down. What's his name? DJ on here?
Diamond K.
DJ Diamond K. People aspire what you doing. So everybody doing something, people love what we doing. And we doing a positive thing for people. So, people can't get out. They can't get on the streets and on the ground and in the alleys. I go in the alleys. I go in the trenches. I go where the news don't go. The news don't go where I go at. It's incredible. And so, just like Uber and Lyft, Uber and Lyft, right? it's gonna be another CNN with me. Uncut news, man. You know, look at the back of my shirt. Hold up. What that say?
Uncut news.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
So when I went to New York, I had another uncut, and I interviewed and I talked to Dmx, the riders, the
Rough Riders.
Rough Riders, right? And they talked to him. I told him on Uncut News. Everybody want to talk to Uncut News because of Uncut. Nothing. The camera don't go off till the batteries die.
What's your favorite DMX song, man?
You gonna make me lose my mind up in here. But all of them is favorite. But let me tell you about the songs, Donnie. I mean, the music, man, it's like, you hammer down, boy, because I love his voice too, man. It's something about DMX voice. I mean, it's great, man, and all the music great, but everything is true. He don't have no strip. Things just come out. Just like me, Donnie. My first show with Radio 1 13 years ago. My first show, I stripped it, right? It didn't come out right for me. So now I just go off the cuff. I mean, everything, I don't write stuff there. I know it's hard what I do, but it's easy for me because things just flow out, But DMX, man, all this music is great and it's true. And everybody can relate to it. Even the church folks. So,
You got Bo covered.
What happened, Bo?
Look back on your lock back in your prayer. Okay. Any final thoughts, gentlemen? I done kept you way longer than I asked you for. It's just Diamond K. Between the two of y'all, these numbers are through the roof. I ain't just letting this go. You don't cut off the thing when it's flowing like this. These numbers, they through the roof.
Wow.
It is a amazing time that we live in, and Black media is so important now more than ever, and so we have to continue to support each other and support the people.
So, do either of you are you living in Atlanta, Diamond?
I have a place in both cities.
I'm ready to do more Atlanta. Matter of fact, I got some friends with a studio down there that I'm really thinking about utilizing more. Big old studio, TV studio, just outside of Atlanta.
Yeah,
how about
that's
you,
good.
Larry?
That's good.
You see yourself doing more in Atlanta or any other city? Larry?
You say what? I thought you were still talking to DJ.
No, do you see yourself doing more work in any other city?
You like the Uncut News? Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna travel all 52 states, man. I mean, Uncut gotta be in every state is something different. Just like when I went to Atlanta, I met the guy, like what's the guy name who charged them cops? I went downtown, they blocked the streets off and they say we ain't leaving until the DA come out the building. He came out and talked to us. I forgot his name, but when I told him I'm from Baltimore, the first thing he said, tell Marilyn Mosby I said hi. So you know what Marilyn Mosby did when she charged them cops? That went around the world. People don't know it. I was talking to the DA. I was talking to the DA down in Atlanta. He came out to talk to us, and I told him I'm from Baltimore. Soon I said that, he said, tell Marilyn Mosby, your state's attorney, I said hi. He kept saying that because they listened to her. I mean, believe it or not, folks, all around the world, when Marilyn Mosby charged some cops about the Freddie Gray ride, that's why all these DAs charging cops now, because she took the lead.
That's why they're targeting. That's why she's being targeted now, because of the impact of those decisions and her way of just her way of doing her job. Right. The higher ups are threatened by her and the impact that she can and is having.
Yep.
And her husband is next in line to be mayor.
Right on.
Yeah,
Right on.
I've heard you say that a few times.
Right on. Right on. So both of them is great, man. They powerful people, they lovable people, and they can run a city. You know, they can run a city. And the question was Atlanta. Yes, I would go to Atlanta. I would go to all the states, if possible, if I get that support behind me, because I know it's support. But without support, I still go without support. Like I went everywhere with no money. Believe it or not, I went all these states I went to with no money, and my supporters is the people. So I appreciate you. I love y'all people out
That's
there.
good. That's real good. That's real good.
Good deal. We're gonna get up out of here. I got a lunch appointment across
Don't
town.
go, Donnie. Don't go. Stay.
Can't miss the meeting. They talking
Okay.
about my neighborhood, Sandtown. I gotta go in.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, right.
Matter of
You
fact, we
always-
have two things Saturday. 10 o'clock, we got the Contractors College right here, 10 a.m. From 10 to 12. We're going to have the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce. We're also going to have Walter Edwards, developer out of New York City. And then at 1 o'clock, we're going to have Sandtown community meeting. There's a lot of talk going on about what's happening, what's not happening here in Sandtown. And as a resident, as an indigenous resident that has covered news here since '94, we want to hear what the people have to say about this. The people who are often overlooked, when those little messages go out, because we're cliquish people.
right.
Anybody, black, white, Asian. I want to make sure
Everybody's clicking.
I want to make sure the masses get it. But again, thank you all for your time. Larry, we're proud of you. Dmx, keep doing what you're doing.
Dmx.
We will. We'll be back tonight at 7 o'clock. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Up today, down tomorrow. Do your day and everything will follow. Nothing to it but to do it. I got to do it, regardless of how I feel. I am somebody.
Yes.
Yeah, my brother's keeper. Have a beautiful day, everybody.
Thank you.